Today we'll draw a rose in coloured pencil. I never sketch directly onto the drawing paper as that dirties up the paper. I rather first draw onto a loose sheet and then I transfer the final lines to the actual drawing paper. To transfer the outlines of the rose to the drawing paper, I use Dressmaker's carbon paper. Dressmaker's carbon paper comes in different colours, so you can use a colour which will blend into the final drawing. In this case, I'm using yellow carbon paper. When drawing, one of your aims is to keep the drawing as clean as possible. So you'll see that I keep my reference photo underneath my hand, and that way it protects the drawing. I'm right-handed, so I start from the left and I'll work towards the right, and that way I never need to work over or lean on completed work areas. When drawing, I start by looking at the lightest and the underlying color. Each petal will have an overall underlying color. It could be any color. For this rose, it's mostly pink. If you look at some of the petals, however, you will also see orange as an underlying color. I'll lay down this underlying color first, and from there I'll gradually work my way darker in the correct places. As I work, getting the tonal values correct is always my top priority. If my colors are a bit off in the final drawing, it doesn't matter. But if I don't get those tonal values correct, then the shape of each petal will look wrong. With roses, you'll find that in general, each petal appears lighter towards its outer edge and darker towards its inside edge. This contrast shows depth and distance between adjacent petals, because the one petal is casting shadow on the other. In general, the outer edge of the petal is also going to end in a sharp or found line. The contrast between the light outer edge of the front petal against the dark of the back petal also gives us distance between the two. I'll then look for places where this found line between the two gradually softens and disappears. This transition indicates that the distance between the two petals is gradually reducing until they touch, and at that point where they touch, you won't even be able to see whether one starts and the other one stops. At that point, it's called a lost line. Drawing these transitions between the lost and found lines helps give you depth and dimension in the drawing. To get the color of the area that you're drawing correct, you need to look and compare. Look and compare the area you are drawing against the corresponding area on the reference photo. Then ask yourself, is this area on the reference photo more yellow, pink, red, purple, blue, or whatever than what I see on my drawing? In other words, what you're trying to do is spot what color is missing on your drawing. For example, if you see that there's too little pink in your drawing, then choose the closest matching pink pencil and continue drawing using that pencil. And as you continue coloring, keep looking and comparing. Often the missing color changes as you lay down the second color, so you may need to change to a third and even a fourth color in some areas. As you draw, always start with a light pressure, building up the colors by adding one layer over the next. It's only when you see that you're not able to get as dark as you need using layering, then you start pressing harder on your pencil. Pressing hard must always be your last resort, because once you press hard, it becomes very difficult to fix or erase any mistakes that you make. As you can see, I draw the flower petal by petal, and as I complete a petal, I will revisit the previous petals to ensure that they still look correct. When you're drawing a petal, you have white paper surrounding it. This lightness of the paper makes the colors that you are adding to the petal look darker than they really are. But this effect only becomes apparent once the adjacent petals have been completed. So by revisiting the previous petals, you're now able to better spot the correct tonal values, making your drawing even more realistic. I'll continue like this and shade in the entire flower. At the end, I'll revisit each petal again, not only to adjust my tonal values, but also to add those little lines, marks and blemishes that you can see inside each petal. And while I'm at it, I'll also ensure that I have nice crisp found edges showing the distance between the petals. Colored pencil drawing is a slow process, so rather use this as a way to relax and switch off from the outside world, as opposed to trying to get the drawing finished as quickly as possible. If it takes you a week or more to complete the drawing, that's quite okay. As long as you've enjoyed the drawing process and you end up with an awesome artwork, that's all that matters. For the stems and buds, I sketch them in and then roughly add color to them. I don't want to add too much detail here, they're just there to support the rows. So you'll see that I'm almost just sketching them in to ensure that I don't get too much detail in them. At this point you could call the drawing finished, but I decided to add a dark background in just so we can see what it looks like. So for the background I've used black as well as some brown and green. The brown and the green add color to the black to stop it from looking dead. When adding a background like this, it's critical that you don't leave a halo around the flower. Otherwise it will flatten the entire drawing, because the background and the flower then sort of fuse together. So carefully work your background all the way up to the edge of the flower to make sure that you don't get that little halo. And with that, the rose is complete. What do you think? Is the light background or the dark background better? Let me know in the comments below. And while you're at it, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you'd like to follow the draw-along version of this class, then head over to our website, onlineartlessons.com. There we have over 500 drawn paint-along classes waiting for you. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.